Folks, I don't know if you're tired of talking about Donald Trump's indictment by Jack Smith for his attempts to steal the 2020 election from Joe Biden, but whether we like it or not, it is the single biggest political story of the moment, and perhaps will be for the next several moments, in large part because this particular story contributes to other political stories in terms of the reaction that it's generating on the left and the right, more specifically the right. And as a matter of fact, this story is one of those examples because Donald Trump may very well have been undermined, if not outright incriminated, by two of his attorneys who are supposedly managing the indictment against him. All right, but before we unpack that, if you haven't yet, please hit that like, subscribe, and the alert bell. Maybe check out my Patreon. I'd appreciate the support. So Donald Trump's legal woes are considerable. He's been sued 7,000 different ways, it seems like, and they're racking up legal bills. As a matter of fact, I think we discussed in a previous video, Donald Trump's Q2 legal bills, his legal bills in the second quarter of 2023, outstripped his second quarter political fundraising. This man was spending more in legal payments than he was taking in terms of political fundraising, and he's the front runner for the Republican Party, so that's extraordinary. He's also, according to reporting for years now, he has struggled to retain competent, experienced counsel. It seems like attorneys are very reluctant to take up his cases, either because they think he's too stupid or too unmanageable, or perhaps even because he is legendarily difficult in terms of payment. Like he does everything in his power to avoid paying his attorneys. So a combination of these things are probably driving attorneys who might otherwise represent him away. And I'm not an attorney, but it seems like it would be easy to believe that what he's left with are desperate attorneys of questionable competence. And then after you see the clips I'm about to play for you, you might believe it yourself. So the first attorney here, both of these pertain to Trump's indictment by Jack Smith for his attempt to steal the 2020 election from Joe Biden. This was his attorney. Her last name is Habba. I think it's Alina Habba. One of Trump's attorneys. She's speaking to the press around the time of his arraignment the other day. Listen to what she has to say.
There's testimony and there's a number of aides that have said that the president was made aware that he lost the election and yet continued to argue that it was stolen from him. How do you reconcile those two things?
Well, I think that everybody was made aware that he lost the election, but that doesn't mean that was the only advice he was given.
Okay. So this might not seem like much, but this, in my opinion, is huge because much of Trump's plausible deniability, much of what he's hanging his hat on is, listen, I still genuinely believe that the election was rigged and stolen from me. I know everybody was saying that Joe Biden won fair and square, including my own people, but I genuinely believe that the election was stolen. And the reporter is basically asking, okay, well, according to the evidence, everybody was informed, that the election was stolen, and he's claiming it wasn't stolen. How do you reconcile? And Alina Habba says, well, I think everybody, including Trump, was made aware it was stolen, but that wasn't the only advice he received. So listen to what that says. She's basically saying, at least from her words, that Donald Trump knew he was informed he lost. He knew he lost, but he was looking for advice to fight it. That actually undermines the case that he is trying to offer, the excuse he's trying to offer. Sure, I tried to steal the election, but I believed it was stolen from me, so I tried to steal it back. And Habba is making the case, well, actually, he was informed that he lost the election, but he turned to others to get advice to try to take it back. That's not good for his particular legal case. I also want to bring up another clip from a different Trump attorney, this time on Laura Ingraham. This is John Lauro, another Trump attorney. Listen to what he has to say.
Ultimately, what President Trump said is, let's go with option D. Let's just halt. Let's just pause the voting and allow the state legislatures to take one last look and make a determination as to whether or not the elections were handled fairly. That's constitutional law. That's not an issue of criminal activity.
So let's pause. Let's halt the certification of the election and let the states take a look at it. But here's the thing. According to Trump's own attorneys, and this is listed in the indictment, they knew that that was a violation of the Electoral Count Act, that it was unconstitutional. It was a violation of federal law. So this is in paragraph 122 of Jack Smith's indictment. At 11:44 p.m., co-conspirator number 2 emailed the vice president's counsel advocating that the vice president violate the law and seek further delay of the certification. Co-conspirator number 2 wrote, "I implore you to consider one more relatively minor violation of the Electoral Count Act and adjourn for 10 days to allow legislatures to finish their investigations, as well as to allow a full forensic audit of the massive amount of illegal activity that has occurred there." Number one, there is no evidence of any massive amount of illegal activity, number one. But number two, note what it says. "I implore you to consider one more relatively minor violation of the Federal Electoral Count Act." So what John Lauro just said is, listen, it's perfectly constitutional. All he wanted to do was just pause the certification, delay the certification, violate the Electoral Count Act. This guy on Laura Ingram's show just admitted that Trump wanted to do something that was going to break the law. He tried to get Mike Pence to break the law. So this is on 2 back-to-back occasions from 2 separate Trump attorneys, which seem to, at the very least, undermine the excuses that he has made, the case he has tried to offer in defense of his actions, if not outright incriminate him. This is a profound embarrassment to Donald Trump and the Republican Party, but hilarious for the rest of us. And if this is the quality of counsel that Donald Trump has, he is almost certainly screwed against the Department of Justice, who, as we've discussed in previous videos, depending on how you slice the metric, has anywhere from an 85 to 95 and up conviction rate. And this is in a D.C. court before a judge that Donald Trump has been rebuked by in the past. Presidents are not kings, and plaintiff, Trump is not president, that iconic quote. And a judge who has harshly punished January 6 rioters and insurrectionists. So I think this is a pretty lethal combination for Trump's liberty, for his freedom. I think he is almost certainly screwed in the trial to come if this is the quality of counsel he has. And I'm enjoying it.